When the tragedy of September 11, 2001 happened, photographer Charlotte Dumas was far from New York. Yet she found it impossible not to think about the newspaper pictures showing rescue dogs searching for victims in the rubble of the World Trade Center. 10 years later, in 2011, she decided to create an exhibit dedicated to these four-legged heroes.
They were old. They were within 13 to 16 years of age at the time that I photographed them.
Dumas coupled these portraits with the pictures of the same dogs working at the tragedy site, a reminder and an acknowledgement of the brave actions of more than 300 dedicated canine dogs. Cynthia Otto was one of the few veterinarians working with the federal team of first responders. She was responsible for monitoring the dogs' workload and making sure they rested in between searches.
People say, were the dogs depressed? Well, probably not, because they didn't understand the loss of life. But what they did understand is that they were trained to find live people that were lost in a collapse, and they weren't finding live people. So they were frustrated. They were not getting the reward. We worked very hard to keep the dogs from having problems and from being sort of burnt out on the work, and they continued to work. We would set up different scenarios so that they could actually find somebody successfully.
When it was clear very few survived the collapse of the Twin Towers, Otto says the dogs somehow knew their task had changed. They started looking for bodies. After the search and rescue operation was over, the dogs didn't have any health issues, unless their human partner did.
If the handler had PTSD-like problems, then the dog also started to show some changes in behavior.
A lot of officers working in the Canine unit came to the exhibit opening, with their dogs, of course. The connection between the two is invaluable. These dogs stay with their handlers forever and become part of their family.
The only thing I remember about Canine prior to 9/11 was it was a lot smaller, unfortunately. We didn't have as many. You didn't need as many back then, and you didn't see them as much.
The pictures at the exhibit tell different stories, but all of them are about dedication. Dogs' eyes had to be rinsed because of the endless thick dust. Their paws were cut by glass and sharp metal. Yet only one dog died in September 2001, a Labrador named Sirius. A dog run park just minutes from Ground Zero is now named after him. Today, all the dogs who had worked so hard on 9/11 have passed away from old age, but they are still alive in the pictures and in the hearts of thousands of people. For Anna Nelson in New York, Anna Rice, VOA News.